Just made us a quick pit stop into AutoZone, had to pick up some trans fluid. You know what that means. We are going to head home just in time to get rained on, as the weather is starting to turn lousy on us here right now. But we are going to get underneath the truck, hopefully get our transmission pan, the stock shitty transmission pan that is, dropped off the 68 RFE, so that we can install our made in the USA beautiful PPE transmission pan. We have it on the back seat right now. We have all of our trans fluid buckled in for its safety so that it doesn't go anywhere on the drive home. That's 12 quarts right there, plus I have a couple other bottles of that stuff on hand at the house, so we should have plenty of fluid. I believe that when you drop the pan on these transmissions, you're basically looking at replacing about 8 quarts, and then we are going to be adding extra fluid capacity with the new pan, which is 3 extra quarts, so we should be looking at around 11-12 quarts of fluid. So the rain seems to be getting a little heavier the closer I get to my house. I'm on the highway right now, about 10 minutes away from home, and it is picking up and getting harder and harder the closer I get. The home garage really isn't in too good a shape to fit the truck in there right now, because I just never really cleaned it up at the end of the fall season as we went into winter here. And now with spring right around the corner, we'll be able to do our thing out in the driveway just like always. But I was considering trying to squeeze the front half of the truck into the one side of the garage there, so that I was under some shelter and I could roll around underneath it with the creeper to try and get this done quicker. And then also it would be easier to light it up, as it is going to be dark here in about 55 minutes or so. So I'd like to be able to light things up so that I can show you guys what's going on and what I'm getting into, what I find, all that stuff. But then I had something pop into my head. The truck is lifted a little bit with a 2.5-inch leveling kit up front, and then there's 1 inch of lift in the rear. So I don't know how it's going to squeeze in there. We're gonna have to see if the truck fits, but we're gonna have to see. I think we got enough height on the doors to hopefully squeeze this one in there. And if we do, I can quick clear a section so that I can get the front half of the truck in there, and we'll be able to get this done tonight in the garage. If for whatever reason I can't fit the new truck in there, then well, we're gonna have to come up with something else to finish this video off with. Okay guys, so as you can clearly see, I was able to make enough room in the garage to fit the front half of the truck in here to make this happen tonight. Now that we have us a little bit of shelter, got our old work uniform on. That's right, bet you guys didn't know that. I did used to work in a shop back in the day when I was a little bit younger, and from what I hear online, if you work in a shop, that means you know everything about vehicles and automobile stuff. I mean, that's a lot of the comments I get on some videos, so you guys can't tell me I don't know anything, because look at, read the thing. I'm totally kidding with you guys. I just had to crack some jokes in here, but we're gonna get underneath the truck right now and start breaking these pan bolts loose so that we can drain the old ATF plus 4 fluid out of the truck and start making our way into this new PPE trans pan being put on. The fluid coming out looks pretty good, pretty red. I just had to whack the snot out of the old pan with a dead blow hammer just to break it loose enough for the fluid to start draining. Luckily I didn't end up with too much of it on me, just on my hands for the most part. Got a piece of cardboard down on the ground so that it can catch a lot of stuff that isn't going into our catch pan there. But that's where we're at right now. We're just kind of letting it drain out a little bit so that I can try to continue to work the old pan off of there with that RTV, and then I'm gonna have to spend some time cleaning all that crap off of there, unfortunately. When we install the PPE pan, we will be using a factory style gasket on the pan. We're not using RTV sealant. They recommend using a factory style gasket. Obviously we don't have a gasket to reuse, and I wouldn't reuse it anyways. I still would have purchased a new one, but we will be putting it on with a gasket, no RTV. Let's get us a good side-by-side look at these pans and the differences between the two. First of all, this is probably made out of some type of steel material. And yeah, look at how it's shaped. It is very shallow up in here and then comes down to give you a little bit of a deeper well for your fluid, and you got your magnet in the corner there. Just a very odd design to it, a very odd shape to it. But if you come over here to the PPE pan, and yes, I realize they're not turned the same way, but you guys get the point. You come over here to the PPE pan and look at how much deeper this is. You got all these cooling fins in here to help guide the fluid and prevent sloshing of the fluid so that it doesn't get all aerated in there and all bubbly. Just helps to keep that fluid more pure and cycle up through the transmission, the torque converter, the clutch packs, and all that, and do its job that much better. Also, because this is made out of aluminum, it will dissipate the heat much better than this old pan will, especially with these fins right here. They're also meant to grab that heat and suck it out of the fluid and then pass it out through these cooling fins here as the air is passing through those underneath the truck. So this whole design of this pan is just a far better design, and thank God we have the aftermarket world. Thank you so much to the guys at PPE for helping the channel out and getting this hooked up so that we could get this on the truck in an effort to try and keep our 68 RFU transmission in as good of condition as possible. There's still a couple other things that I want to do with the 68 on the truck. However, I want to get this pan on here now so that that's done. I know that the fluid is changed and good, even though it doesn't really look all that bad. It is a nice bright red. There's a little bit of stuff on the magnet, so I do want to get this on there either way, whether I have to drop it again or not. But I do have some other things coming in that we are going to be installing in the transmission, so this pan will be coming back off again here in the near future so that we can do a couple of other mods. What are those mods? You're going to have to subscribe with those post notifications on so that you are notified when the videos go live and you don't miss out on those mods. Here's a good profile shot of the pans side by side so you can see the difference in how deep the PPE pan is versus how shallow the old stock pan is. And the depth of this PPE pan does add an additional 3 quarts of fluid to your transmission. So that added fluid will also help to keep the fluid temps lower, therefore helping you to keep the clutches and everything else inside the transmission at a cooler temperature in an effort to hopefully not burn them up as fast or have premature failures. So the added fluid capacity is definitely a huge plus in and of itself. And then you throw in these cooling fins and heat sinks and all that stuff, how this pan is designed. It's just an A+ design all around. If you guys watched my last video when I did the filter and fluid on the 0124 valve, you know that when I use the gasket, I do a light coat of Vaseline around the edge of the pan, and then that will help to hold the gasket to the surface of the pan. And also when I put it back on the truck, I usually feed 2 bolts into it, one on each corner, on opposite corners, front and back, and that helps to get them lined up and get a couple bolts started so it'll hold the pan in place, but also keeps the gasket in line and everything so that you can get the rest of the bolts in easier and you're not fighting the gasket trying to fall off the pan. So we're putting a little bit of Vaseline on there right now. Then we'll line up the gasket and we'll go under the truck, change the filters, and start to put this thing on. So there it is installed on the truck, guys. The PPE pan is all done for now. We just got to drop the truck, fill her back up with some ATF plus 4 and get it moved outside for the night. And then we're going to pick the video back up tomorrow when we have some daylight. And then I can give this thing a good little test run out to work in the morning. Make sure everything's good. We'll check it for drips or leaks and make sure that there aren't any. And we'll go ahead and close off the video tomorrow when we can see a little bit better in the daylight. Same fluid as before when I put it in the 0124 valve. It's a Castrol ATF plus 4. This is just going in for a little bit. We will drain this again probably once spring gets here. That's 5 quarts right there. We're going on number 6. I'm going to put 10 in for tonight, get it back out into the driveway, and then we'll get it going in the morning. We'll let it warm up or whatever. I'll drive it around here for a few, try and get that trans up to operating temp, and then we will go ahead and check it, see where the level's at, and then probably add a little bit more just to top it off. I'd rather it be a touch low and then I can top it off than have to crawl back under there and drain some out just to try and get the level right. So I'd rather get 10 quarts in for tonight, and I'll know that that's good enough to get it around and get it all warmed up, and then we can just top it up after. 7, numero 8, and here's 9 and 10. All right, that's 10 quarts of fluid down the hole. We're gonna put the dipstick back in, fire it up, and get it outside. So it is raining out again here in New York, but I wanted to show you guys that and let you know that I did end up checking the fluid after I got out here to work today, and it was a little bit low, so I did add some more, and I actually added a little bit more after I turned the camera off last night. So as of right now, total, I have 12 and a half quarts in the truck that I've put back into it since putting the PPE Transpan on last night. We're gonna drive it right now. The line pressure sitting here idle, I just started the truck. The line pressure is going between 119 and 122. The fluid temp is at 76 according to the Insight CTS2. So we're gonna hit the road and start headed back home. I'm pretty sure I saw a couple little drips coming from the pan, so I'm gonna have to get back underneath there and retorque some of those pan bolts, or I might just crack them all loose and then retorque every one in the torque sequence again. My torque wrench was acting up last night, so I kind of had to just do it by feel, and I am pretty sure that I didn't get them all 100% correct. So I got a different torque wrench that I'm borrowing from Gary right now, and I'm unfortunately just gonna have to go back underneath there and double check them all and wipe the pan down and then check again tomorrow for leaks. But I am headed out of work right now, so let's get on the road and we'll see what this thing is gonna do on the drive home. I'm trying to debate on whether or not I want to take the road that has some good steep grades to it, or if I want to just get on the highway and rip the highway and see how she feels. And that's gonna be where we wrap this video up on the PPE Transpan install. We know everything is much better than it was previously before we had this pan on the truck. Just that simple fluid change and filter swap has done wonders for this truck and completely changed the shifting characteristics and the feel of the shifts in the truck. We'll go over this stuff in another video coming soon, because there's just a lot of stuff that stood out to me as far as the transmission on this truck goes. Go hit up that link down below in the video description for Pacific Performance Engineering's website and check out their pans, their diff covers. They do have new redesigned diff covers for your truck. So their old style used to be like a square back to it. Hit that sub button, become a family member, and turn on those post notifications so you know as soon as the new videos go live with the 4th gen. Hit that like button on your way out, is greatly appreciated and really helps the videos get recommended, helps the channel grow and get us more family members. Check out all the links down below in the video description, and I'll see you guys again soon with another new video. Peace.